A terrorist, billions in wealth, and a dairy farm origin, the untold truth of Masood Azhar. Imagine a family that once earned its living through a dairy and poultry farm, now sitting atop billions, all by walking the path of terrorism. In the city of Bahawalpur, Pakistan, lived a man now known as the leader of one of the world's most dangerous terrorist organizations, Jaish-e-Mohammed's chief, Maulana Masood Azhar. On one hand, the Indian Army's Operation Sindoor was destroying his bases. On the other hand, his entire family, including his wife, was killed in the attack. But did you know that this terrorist once came from a simple, honest business background? Let's take you deep into the dark truth of how a modest dairy business transformed into a factory of terror. But before we dive in, if you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe so you get the latest updates first. Now let's begin today's discussion without any delay. Masood Azhar was born in 1968 in Bahawalpur, a city in Pakistan's Punjab province. His family came from a typical Muslim background, where education and religious traditions went hand in hand. His father, 𝐼𝐴𝐴, was a teacher in a government school. But this was no ordinary teacher's tale. He was a staunch supporter of the Deobandi ideology, and it was from here that the foundation for Masood Azhar's radicalism was laid. The combination of religious extremism and education, a norm in parts of Pakistan, eventually turned into a threat for all of South Asia. But what was the family's main source of livelihood? According to Wikipedia and several Pakistani reports, Masood Azhar's family ran a dairy and poultry farm. Raising cows and buffaloes, selling milk, and supplying eggs, this was their primary occupation. In a densely populated yet modest city like Bahawalpur, this business ran fairly well. They sold their products in mosques and local markets. That was their everyday life, simple, hardworking, and decent. But time took a turn, and the family shifted from an honest living to a path from which returning became nearly impossible. Over time, Masood Azhar was sent for religious education to places like Karachi and the Binori town madrasa. It was here that the roots of extremism and jihadist ideology took hold in his thinking. He learned the art of oratory, mastered how to emotionally connect with youth, and gradually, the boy from a dairy farm transformed into a radical preacher. This was also the time when the Afghan war was raging, and Pakistan and the US were working together to create mujahideen. The madrasas had turned into laboratories of militancy, and Masood Azhar was shaped, trained, and eventually deployed by this system, specifically against India. The family's economic situation began to change once Masood Azhar founded Jaish-e-Mohammed. Income no longer came solely from milk and eggs. Foreign funding, hawala networks, religious donations, and property dealings became part of the picture. In Bahawalpur itself, Jaish established its headquarters, called the Usmano Ali Complex. It was no ordinary building, spread over 18 acres. From the outside it looked like a mosque, but inside it was a factory of weapons and trained terrorists. The Indian Army's Operation Sindoor targeted this very base. In the strike, Masood Azhar's wife, 4 close relatives, and several family members were killed. When asked how he felt, Azhar reportedly said, "I wish I had died too." That one sentence speaks volumes of his pain, false cause, and hollow ideology. This was the same man once hailed in Pakistan as a religious warrior, who now had become a burden even for his own country. Reports indicate that Masood Azhar owns several acres of land, most of which are registered under the names of mosques. But the truth is that these lands are being used to cultivate terrorism. These properties, worth crores of rupees, have now become a thorn in the eyes of the Pakistani administration, especially as India's military pressure is turning into direct action. The Pakistani government and military are now facing a crucial question: how long will they continue to shelter such terrorists? A few years ago, France froze Masood Azhar's international bank accounts worth millions of dollars. Yet in Pakistan, there has never been an open discussion about his wealth and assets. The local media continued to label him a religious leader and remained silent about his riches. But now that his empire is collapsing, the truth is beginning to surface. This is the same wealth that should have gone to schools, hospitals, and roads, but instead disappeared into the palaces and bunkers of a terrorist. Jaish network spans from Bahawalpur to Muridke and places like 𝐟𝐨𝐥𝐥𝐨𝐰. Jaish owns properties worth crores in these areas too, which have been used for arms trafficking, terrorist training, and distribution of extremist literature. These sites are now being targeted as well. But due to constraints within the Pakistani military, all of this is being done quietly rather than publicly. On one hand is India's pressure, on the other is international scrutiny, and in between lies Pakistan's double standard. For India, this wasn't merely a military operation, it was a clear message. Any nation that shelters terrorism will eventually pay the price. Masood Azhar's family once ran a business based on milk and eggs, but he transformed it into a venomous empire of hatred and violence. And it is this cultivation of hatred that has tarnished an entire nation's global image. The severe economic, political, and social crisis Pakistan faces today cannot be separated from the role of such extremist organizations. The pressing question now is, does Pakistan truly want to dismantle this terror network? Will Masood Azhar's death or the destruction of Jaish-e-Mohammed's bases lead to the end of terrorism? Or is this just another game of replacing one face to protect the rest of the network? Pakistan's long-standing strategy has been to sacrifice one militant figure to shield the broader infrastructure. This is precisely why decisive action against terrorists like Masood Azhar rarely sees the light of day. Another striking detail in this entire narrative is the source of Masood Azhar's wealth, largely accumulated through religious donations and foreign funding. From the Gulf nations to the UK, US, and even parts of Africa, Jaish collected funds through its network of supporters. Social media platforms and online portals were also exploited. Under the guise of zakat and charity, money was raised, and that same money was funneled into spreading terror in India. It was a meticulously orchestrated operation, cloaked in the language of religion. Masood Azhar's personal security was no less than that of a president. He had private bodyguards, bulletproof vehicles, and a fortress-like residence in Bahawalpur. Shockingly, all of this existed right under the nose of the Pakistani government, yet no action was ever taken. Perhaps because the state itself was, in some way, entangled in the very network it should have dismantled. As long as this collusion remains intact, the roots of terrorism will continue to flourish. In the end, this isn't just a story about one man. It's the story of an entire system, one that began with a dairy and poultry farm and rose to become a global symbol of terrorism. Masood Azhar's family once lived a life of simplicity, but a misdirected ideology pushed them down the deadliest of paths. This teaches us the immense power of ideas and how their misuse can lead society to devastating consequences. Today, as the Indian Army destroys his terror camps, it's not merely an act of retaliation, it's a warning. To all who run shops of hatred, who spill blood in the name of religion, and who play with innocent lives for personal gain, this is a call to recognize the truth, dismantle the business of hate, and return to the path of humanity.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources: news from various news agencies, opinion polls, and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.